That's really interesting, because that's a best of 3, which means that Vortix can no longer play French, because he won a game of French. And this means that Kelazhur, who is still able to do so, will play French, and our... so let's just kind of talk about the players. So in the left-hand side corner of the map, playing the Mongols indeed, it is Vortix, who is 1-0 in the series currently. On the other side of the map, in the red, it is Kelazhur, the good old SC2 pro, playing the French. And he's really trying, I think, to leave a mark on this game. What is going to be very interesting to see is what happens when these two players win one game each, because that's going to be basically French, not... that will eliminate the French from this mashup completely. They'll have to play different civilizations. You can see basically what the tier list is for those players, though. You can see that, for instance, Vortix here... that's the second time we see this, I think, as well, where our high ranked players just favor French, who are like basically S tier, I guess, and then we have the Mongols who are going to be A plus tier or something like that. We haven't really seen many civilizations outside of those two played in the tournament setting so far, so that's very interesting to see what exactly those players do. Once they exhaust those two options, once the French are out of the table and they have to kind of resort to the second civ of their choice. I'm kind of interested if Kelazhur does actually go for the Mongols as well if he wins this matchup, or if he's going to do something different. Now the opening here for Vortix, by the way, is going to be. Let me just see the resource. How villages are actually distributed. So we see 7 on food, 2 on wood, 1 on stone. That's obviously the uvu, right? That's not the mine. He just kind of has the uvu, which generates the stone over time for the Mongols. And this is basically the only way in which Mongols can obtain the stone, first of all. And second of all, it's also the possibility for the Mongols to generate, get their special bonuses later on down the line. So what the Mongols are likely to do again is to build a silver tree and establish a very solid trade here, right? So he'll probably try to find a nice market. Which is actually very, very poorly placed for him, because if you're trading, you have to have the market and your uvu really far apart. So I think he would have preferred to take this stone over this stone, because this would have allowed him to... It's also in the back, so it's safer for the traders to move. Because you want to have a decent distance between the two markets, so that that you can trade the neutral market efficiently, and also you want to have the uvu and the market, your landmark that you use to H2 on the same area of effect as the uvu, right? Because this means that you can double produce your traders using stone. And I don't think maybe Vortix just kind of rushed a little bit. He did not see that stone on the back, because he would have definitely just placed the uvu over there. And I do not think he can spend another 150 wood right now to just kind of move it elsewhere and just kind of get it over here. Because it does cost 150, right? Yep, it does. I played my deal of Mongols, guys. We see that our French player is going up very early on, 310. He's already like 33% done with this school of cavalry. And at the top side of the map, we see that there is nothing happening yet. I would wager that he's going to just age up with the deer stones. Okay, that's very peculiar. So Vortix is not going for that eco at all. So I was wrong. So maybe he has even scouted that very early, but he just decides to go for the deer stones, which is a big tell, because this means that he's just going to get a little bit of movement speed bonus. That's just going to speed up your traders, speed up your cavalry around this place in a very large area of effect, which does actually allow you to react to what the French player is doing. So I think it's a good idea, actually, because you can actually just have your units moving way faster, and you can cover more distance, cover more ground defensively, right? You can also, by the way, pack this thing up and move it and actually use it as a battle station, which is ridiculous, but this is the case. So you can basically take those deer stones and you can just move them around the map, and you can actually kind of unpack them in front of your enemy's base. You can just micro like crazy with this, which is insane. Mongols have the most interesting mechanics out of all the civilizations, but they pay for it with that kind of, I guess, weirdness to their playstyle. I have no other way to say it, actually. They just kind of play a little bit strange. Obviously, this flexibility means that you have to actually... It taxes your APM heavily, that's what I want to say, right? So even though you have a lot of flexibility, there is a decent punishment for that, namely that you have to do a lot of things that other players, other civilizations just do not require whatsoever. So we have Kelazhur actually going for this school of cavalry, probably getting the knight pumped out. But what he should realize, what he did not do before, is that there is going to be a very large number of spearmen, right? Because he can pump 2 spears at a time as Mongols, right? So Vortix is going to be able to get 2 spearmen out every single time he produces, right? He's just going to be double producing the spears right now, which is really good for him. But honestly, I'm surprised. I'm surprised by the fact that it doesn't cost you much. It costs you 80 stone to get those double spears out. But I would really like to, to get this. He has the gathering building over here. He could just build an he can build an outpost over here and just move the TC towards the stone, just get the double villagers. I guess he just tested it. He decided it's not worth it at all. But I'm kind of surprised people are not doing this. I'm very surprised people are not doing this at all. We have also this scan actually moving around, just trying to get the scout on the French as to what they're doing. And we have those knights trying to wrap around the base of Vortix, trying to deal some damage and trying to dominate. This is a very interesting matchup because I have not seen actually deer stones outside of my own games being built at all. I was kind of trying to troll people, moving them around, just kind of fight in their range. But it's really cool to see this happening right now. We have those 2 spears over here, for instance, just getting this massive buff. Because all the buildings of the Mongols, I think, have that buff right now, the YAM network. Which means that units around them are going to get benefits in terms of speed. Right? Oh, we have... That's crazy. He managed... I was not watching that. He got 900 wood. And he's going to get the second TC out very early as well. So there's going to be 2 TC economy for the Mongol player, and this knight is going to get engaged as well. Let's see what the French player is going to do in the response. Actually, he's not getting stoned. I'm kind of worried for Kelazhur because he's playing super passively. Like as French, if you go for this knight opening, you really want to establish some sort of control over the game, and he's not doing this at all. He has like 3 knights out here, a scout over here at the top, and that's basically all she wrote for him. Against 8 spears, you don't stand a chance, man. You have like 0 chance of survival. And what you should be doing probably is looking towards getting that second TC, establishing a solid eco, and just kind of playing off the back of this approach. Because, the Mongol always outproduce with the spears. Also, that's another thing. I do not see an archery range being built, which is very stubborn of Vortix, honestly, because, of Kelazhur, because he really needs to get some sort of, a way to deal with those pesky knights, pesky spearmen of his opponent. So that's going to be a very large detriment coming into the series. Actually, I think it's going to be a very large disadvantage for our player using the French, right? For Kelazhur. I think he's Brazilian, by the way. I'm pretty certain Kelazhur is coming from Brazil. Okay, we have 2 villagers dying. Actually, that's very good. That's super good. He really needed this because you cannot allow Mongols to just double produce units. That's definitely not going to work in your favor. So what you would expect to happen here, I guess. So I'm just trying to quickly change the title of the stream on my phone. So I'm going to just kind of take a very short recess here. There's nothing big happening. We have those nice harassing still. Okay, I think this is yeah. I'm gonna update the info very quickly, and we're back with the cast, guys. So we're gonna have a look at what's happening here. Nothing much has changed, right? So the knights are just kind of running around and trying to harass a little bit at least, but the numbers of spearmen right now are very high, so this should mean that there is very little that those knights can achieve anymore. And you're trying to just accumulate, I guess Vortix is just trying to accumulate spears and just defend. And because of the speed buff that he has, I think he's just going to be able to move around very, very smoothly and just, do everything that he wants. Okay, we see... Okay, the deer stones do move actually. So he moves the deer stones towards the bottom of the map, trying to extend the reach of those sped up units, right? Whereas those knights over here actually are going to get repelled by the spears, I believe. So yeah, you can maybe charge in and try to get 1 spearman killed, but that's not going to be enough. So you guys can see that those knights are going to move around, they're just going to leave this area, and at the same time you can see how much eco Vortix has been able to accrue. So as you guys can see, you have 36 villages, 24 military for Vortix. You have 36 villages as well for Kelazhur. He's getting supply block though, that's very nasty. He actually gets the blacksmith, he's getting steeled arrows, he's trying to get the archer of his own. That's very good, he really needed this. So he needs to build as many archers as possible right now in response to those spears. Now, what you want to do as Vortix now, I think, is you just want to have enough units to survive. Oh, look at that, so sick. So what you can do with spears, like they have the stun against cavalry. If you actually use the hold command, if you just use stand ground, they kind of, you know, hold those spears out at your opponent, and they actually can get a lot of extra damage, and they stun when the cavalry charges, right? So he did that micro maneuver here. I have not seen this done before by anybody on the on today's cast. It's very impressive. Obviously, we'll see more of this as we go deeper into the ladder, I believe, right? So that sick micro is going to kind of keep taking place. We have a lot of units here for Vortix. Actually, Kelazhur is keeping up with the economy, but he's not really keeping up with the... actually, no, they're actually quite even. They're even Steven in terms of the score, though actually Vortix is getting a little bit of a score advantage overall. And Vortix is pushing, man. So he uses that arrow from the can, I guess. And how are they getting the YAM network upgrade so far up here? I'm actually surprised. I didn't know that this was possible, that they could kind of keep that upgrade for so long. So they lose the buff right now, so that was probably just kind of temporary buff that you can get and you can use and you can kind of move out with it. You look at this, Vortix actually getting so much damage onto the economy of Kelazhur, but Kelazhur actually is going to repay in kind. He's going to get some villager kills at least, I guess. Oh no, he just chases the archers, man. He just doesn't do anything at all. And those pesky archers of Vortix actually did some decent damage to Kelazhur's eco. So right now we look at Kelazhur with 40 eco, 18 military, and we have 46 and 34 military for Vortix. So he has a decent army advantage. And honestly, the quality is in those knights, right? The quality for Kelazhur is in those knights running around trying to kind of circle and get some advantages. But is it going to be enough? Very hard to tell, really. It's a very hard tell overall. And yeah, Vortix is just well established over here, so he's trying to get as much as he can in terms of those kind of workers, in terms of the economy. And I guess he will try to at some point advance to the next age. Obviously, he cannot let his guard down and allow Kelazhur to overwhelm him, so he's trying to build some military, but he's also going to be trying, I guess, to accrue enough food to age up. He's spending all he has right now on villagers and on units, though, so he's actually massing a very large force. And I don't think Kelazhur has any way of dealing with this right now. He can actually, it's actually good. He shaves off 2 villagers. He shaves off 2 archers, which is good enough. But whether this is gonna be sufficient or no, that's a big question. And I think he's just gonna go for Hail Mary. It's crazy because he has such a huge army disadvantage. He should not be doing this, man. I'm really against this. He has a lot of food. He's probably just going to play it safe and maybe try to age up. But he's just going to go towards this battering ram. He's going to try to siege. The problem for... I really don't know about this, because you know what the Mongols can do? Like, you can just basically pack up and leave. Like, if he feels that's like threats, he just takes this TC and just moves it up. Like, that's not a big deal at all. What he can do, though, like, I guess what he's doing, actually... is that he is going to use this to tank, because the TC will automatically target the ram. It will not target the units then, so he's safe from the TC fires. He can at least trade evenly here. So you can see him doing the very specific maneuver where he's just going to kill off a few spearmen before he engages onto the archers. But those knights are really not doing too hot here, let's face it. It's just going to get demolished here, he's going to get repelled. And he has very little options to disengage, because the YAM network provides a lot of movement speed for the units of Vortix. And Vortix is just getting a very large advantage in this fight, I guess, I feel. Though those archers are actually dealing quite nicely with the spears, so it's not like a complete slaughter. It is not looking too well for our Brazilian player. Kelazhur is dead. And Vortix is just dominating. He takes this matchup 2-0. Kelazhur is completely out of the... It happens later. So, you know, Kelazhur is a very good player, but not a match for Vortix. Vortix was able to get better economy, better units, better setup, and that YAM network actually proved to be critical for the